Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the SOMM TV podcast. I'm your host, Jason Wise. On today's episode, I have the whole crew here. I've got Jackson Myers, our director of content, John Adams, the producer of this podcast, and also a winemaker up in the Willamette Valley. And the three of us are going to go through the 2025 wines of the year from SOMM TV. And then we're also going to talk about the wine regions. We've each picked two that you need to visit in 2026. Gentlemen, it's very nice to have you on. I can't say I miss you. We work together all day. But, the three of us, we're pretty lucky to be able to travel the world, drink these wines, meet a lot of people. The big challenge with picking wines of the year is that we meet every single person that makes it. And I'm not entirely sure, look, I'm not a critic, could never be one probably, but I'm not sure how they do that. How they meet somebody, shake their hand, taste all their wines, leave, and then give them a shitty score or something like that. I mean, one of the problems that we have is we're not just going to taste wine. We're meeting their dog. We're meeting their family. We are going down in the cellar, hearing the story of 5 generations, making an episode, living with them. And so for us, it's a very personal thing. So whenever we put a wine on the list like this, it kind of means it not only was a great wine, but the story was kind of worth doing it. Jackson, when you pick a wine that's like your best of the year, are you thinking more story like, I like what's around this wine, or are you able to isolate what's in the bottle and just judge that?
That's a good question. I think they go hand in hand usually, like a good story tends to make a good wine. Somebody, who's 4th generation, 5th generation, they go way back, they have stories to tell, they care about the vines and have history with it. They tend to make a better wine because of that. Or, if they've left everything and started to make a wine in a place that most people don't think wine exists in, that's a cool story too. And, if they're doing it right, it makes a great wine. So I don't know. I do think usually a good story makes a great wine, and who you're drinking it with has such an impact on how the wine tastes.
That's actually very well said. I totally agree. A good story does make a good wine. I mean, I got to ask you guys this. Have you ever come across, you don't have to name names, but a fantastic story around a wine where the wine was just not? I'm worried because I'm going to think of one.
Yes.
Really? Well, can you say like in a way that I would know and maybe only a moderate amount of the audience would understand what we're talking about?
I don't know if I can name specifics.
You tell me off, Mike. Not that I'm against crapping on, a particular wine. Oh, I know what you're thinking of. Let me just ask, was it based in Sonoma?
Maybe.
I know the winery you're talking about. It's a great story, though. All right, enough of that. I want to tell everybody listening to this podcast that if you are looking for a gift, last minute or otherwise, please consider SOMM TV. Right now, we are giving away 50% off SOMM TV if you enter SOMM TV 50 at checkout. That would really, really, really make the wine lover, the food lover happy in your life. Go to sommtv.com, enter SOMM TV 50 for an entire year at 50% off. I want to say with a couple caveats too. These wines that are on our list, it's not just the three of us that are picking these. We have a number of winemakers, cast members, taking a look and thinking what wines are the best and what wines are our favorite and kind of melding those two things. So we have picked some wines that we think come from the heart and also really, really, really amazing on the palate and hopefully have a good story around them too. So let's start on the right bank of Bordeaux. The three of us, we were filming a very unexpected piece that I hope people have watched, where we were able to sneak our way into the tunnels under Saint-Emilion, a medieval town on the right bank in Merlot country, essentially. John, why don't you tell us what wine was poured for us under there?
It was awesome. We should talk about the wine shop first. What was the name of the wine shop that we stumbled into?
Sous la Robe, right?
Under the dress in English. I remember him saying that to me and being like, oh, okay.
So we stumbled into this wine shop. It was really hot. And we're sitting there at dinner, and there's this beautiful cold breeze coming out through the restaurant as we're sitting there. We're like, what in the world? Turns out it was the back door of the restaurant that connects to a limestone cave under Saint-Emilion. And we ended up exploring this whole cave with the proprietor of this wine bar. And he opened this incredible wine, which was a Chateau Beauséjour 1998 Saint-Emilion Grand Cru. It was an incredible wine. Probably, for me, the wine of the trip.
Yeah, it was a really, really, really stellar wine. I do have to say, the fact that we drank a 98 doesn't change the fact that the current vintage is on our wines of the year list. I, for one, found it to be an incredible kind of I hate to say this, but like a throwback kind of a wine that tasted like wine that had been made, 30, 40 years ago. really restrained,
Very classic.
not overly flamboyant, very classic. Yeah. Jackson, what did you think of this wine?
I mean, I thought it was delicious. And I also think that the environment that we had it in was so special and unique that, I think it's one of these things for me, it's impossible to disassociate the two from each other. But the wine itself was truly phenomenal. That was a great classic right bank Bordeaux of that era.
I don't think it's a very common wine to find in the States. I think it's just they don't make a ton. I think it's kind of allocated. It's not crazy expensive or anything like that. It's just not very common.
Sometimes I wish that I could take these wines and try them again when I'm just sitting at home on a Tuesday night and see if I have the same impression of them that I did when I was drinking it in a limestone cave in a medieval village.
Yeah, it might transport you right back there, though.
It might.
Yeah.
That's possible. I think everybody should have to drink every wine they're going to truly critically evaluate at like a Cleveland Browns, Jacksonville Jaguars game. So it's just like a place like you're like, why am I here? What's so loud? But you have to, they give you the bottle and you're sitting in like row 400 and you just have to go, all right, now what do you think of this? If you really like it in that environment, it's a truly great wine. That's my
How many beers deep are you there?
Oh, at a Cleveland Browns game, you have to be, I think you have to have had 12 beers to go in.
Okay.
If I remember. They may have changed the rules, but that's where it was when I was young.
That sounds likely.
Next, I have a wine that I have been so continuously blown away by this wine. It is a wine I've been lucky to have many times with the proprietor of the winery, and it is Xander Sonoma Coast 2022 Pinot. This is my Pinot Noir of the year, 100%. I just am deeply in love with this wine. Shalini Shekhar is the winemaker. Probably butchering your name, Shalini, so I totally apologize. She is a wizard. This is somebody who makes a wine that you taste it. It's I don't like to use the word Burgundian, but it's very Burgundian in the way that it has a very soft approach. Classic, low alcohol, very floral, incredibly nuanced wine. A wine that is very deep. And I truly, truly love this wine. I know Xander had engineered these kind of wines and engineered's a loose term. I don't think he does a ton to them as far as intervention goes, but to have them with Japanese food. And when you think of sushi, you don't think of Pinot Noir, but this wine is, I would say, on the lighter side, and then has quite a bit of power towards the back end. And for some reason, it works incredibly well with all the different flavors you end up with sushi. It can be very salty. You can have a bunch of spicy flavors. And then, of course, there's the fish component, which is so easily overpowered by wine. And so this really does work. But I have been able to evaluate this wine now 4 or 5 times at very different situations. Nice dinners, normal nights in, with him talking about it. And honestly, it is a wine that I've been unable to stop thinking about. So it is, of all the Pinot Noirs that I have had in the year 2025, this is my absolute pick. Xander Sonoma Coast 2022. It is a phenomenal bottle of wine. Jackson, you've had this wine.
Yeah, I've had it. I've been lucky enough to have it a few times with sushi, without sushi, and it is another delicious wine on this list. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I really like this trend that is happening, especially the West Coast of the U.S., where they are kind of, I think they're finding something. They're not just trying to copy Burgundy. They're not falling into just this kind of stereotypical American Pinot that used to exist. It's kind of like a very cherry cola thing. And now they're kind of finding their own identity. And this is a perfect example. If you want to try something that I think is on like the cutting edge of like where Pinot is going in the United States and why that's a good thing, try this Xander 2022. So moving on, there is a wine that we drank. If any of you have watched our Verticals episode on the Laithwaite family, there was a sparkling wine that really kind of, I would say, it knocked me off my feet a bit. I was not expecting it. It was a wine that I had during there's a conversation. We ran it as a podcast where I have a conversation with Tony and Barbara Laithwaite, the kind of patriarch and matriarch of this vast wine company that's based in the UK. Barbara makes this sparkling wine in England called Wyfold. It's Wyfold Vineyard Sparkling, and it is just a tremendously delicious glass of wine. I really like this wine a lot. I thought about it quite a bit afterwards and was able to try it again, this time at home. I had it in their English garden with them. Lovely time, chipmunks around us and hedgehogs and all sorts of stuff, and it was lovely. And the wine was fantastic.
Great place to have an English sparkling wine sitting in an English garden.
Yeah, it was like with Peter Rabbit. It was right next to me.
Yes.
And I had it when I got home. No special circumstances. I was not sitting in a Los Angeles garden. Honestly, one of the better sparkling wines I've had in a long time. It is my sparkling for 2025. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they, I think Weifold made both Blanc and as well as a rosé, and the rosé was the one that was truly a standout. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, the rosé is the one, the wine that I'm referring to. Thank you for the clarification. And you can see this wine in my conversation with Tony and Barbara. I'll put a link to all of these wines and also where you can watch these episodes in the show notes. This is such a tough thing. We drink so many different wines throughout the year, and we're with so many different people. Narrowing this down is it's a tough one. But I'm going to go up to the Willamette, and I'm going to pick a Pinot. Now, we already had a Pinot, but for some reason, and I don't know what it was, more Pinot Noir came into my circle in 2025 than I think it had in any year previous. And I don't know if it's just people are finding a groove with it. I don't know if it's just sort of, I don't know. I really don't know what it is. But I can say one thing. The Willamette Valley has exploded. I feel like last year was the first year for me where the Willamette Valley is truly on the world stage 100%. It's not just this, and it also exists type of wine region, which is not fair to call it that, but I do feel like it's always sort of taken a bit of a back seat to California. I mean, it is making a run at the best wine region in the US right now. It really is. The wine that I have to call out is Folly of Man. Folly of Man is made by two people, Tracy and Aaron Kendall. They were both winemakers at different wineries in the Willamette, came together, formed this thing with their two small children, and made an incredible, incredible wine. This is the wine that I drink with Jonah Beer on our last movie and wine cameos. If you've watched that episode, we actually filmed it. It's on SOMM TV. We drank this during it, and it was just an unexpected wine. We just needed something to drink while we talked, and it really, honestly, I felt it was incredible. John, does Folly of Man have a reputation up there in the Willamette?
I mean, Tracy and Aaron are super nice. This particular wine is actually from the Mumtazi vineyard, which, as people know, is Mo Mumtazi's beautiful vineyard. The Mumtazi vineyard is a pretty unique place that makes really incredible wines, and I think Tracy and Aaron have done the right thing with this vineyard, and this is an awesome wine.
And so different, like you talk about the previous wine that I mentioned, the Xander Sonoma Coast, such a different Pinot, such a different wine, and yet still in this kind of razor style where you can tell they knew exactly what they were trying to make. John, have you ever tasted a wine where you're kind of like, this is really good, but I'm not sure they knew how to make a good wine, but this isn't exactly, they were kind of trying to figure out what they were making?
Yeah.
These two wines, I mean, you can just tell this is exactly what they wanted to make.
Well, I think it comes from experience, like it's when you have somebody at the helm that really knows what they're doing, they can make those kinds of wines.
While we're up in the Willamette, I just want to say another sparkling wine that we had this year that, we've had for probably the last few years is the Lytle Barnett Sparkling Brew. And it is, just before we leave the Willamette, I want to give them a mention because they really do make some incredible sparkling wine here.
Yeah, Andy Lytle and his team make what I think is one of the, I don't know, I've said it before, I think it could be the best American sparkling wine. Now, to take the hyperbole out of that, it has to be tasted blind because it's a wine that we adore, was part of Sparklers, all this stuff. So I'm obviously a little biased, but I will say that wine is this brioche, yeasty, incredible quality to it that you really don't see outside of Champagne often. And so, I don't know, I'm with you, Jax, good call. But we're not leaving the Willamette. We're staying in the Willamette.
Oh, we're still here, okay.
You remember when you were like in high school and you'd be at a party and you ended up kissing somebody and you just couldn't stop thinking about it? You're like, I can't believe it that I kissed that person.
Oh my gosh.
I kissed that girl. Actually, that's how I feel about this wine. This wine reminds me of like a formidable kiss I had as a young person. And it is Abbott Claims 2022-2023 Eola Amity Hills Chardonnay. This is a wonderful date. And I got kissed at the end of it. I love this wine. I thought this wine was just so stunning. So I had a whole conversation with the winemaker Alban up there about Burgundy and whether Burgundy is trying to become, a part of the Willamette, or the Willamette's trying to become a part of Burgundy, or this or that. And it's a really fascinating conversation, but I will say this. Blind, I challenge anybody to not call Merceau on this wine. It is just such an incredibly nuanced wine with it's got the perfect amount of reduction. It just tastes exactly what you expect from a really, really, really good white Burgundy.
I think Alban is a super talented young winemaker. He's really passionate about what he does. He really cares. about every wine that he makes.
Every bottle it's seen,
Yeah,
not just
every
every
bottle.
wine.
They're really particular about the vineyards that they source this fruit from. They buy fruit from some of the great vineyards in the Eola Amity Hills. As Jason said, this wine has awesome, just perfectly balanced reduction. It's got like that citrusy, really nicely balanced Chardonnay. It's got concentration, but it's light on its feet. It's a really delicious wine.
Every time I taste a wine like this, there is something that is an art to getting it to be this precise and this finessed. I don't truly, it's not the kind of thing that you can go up and just film for a week or film for a couple days to try to understand. This guy lives, breathes, thinks, and sweats and bleeds this kind of style of wine. John, do you think that there's a chance an American winemaker could make that wine?
Yeah, I do. I think they could.
Okay.
But I think that the way Alban looks at wine is very different than how an American winemaker would look at wine. You know, I think the French have a different perspective on wine because it's so much a part of their culture from the time when they're super young, whereas in America, we just don't have that. And
Yeah.
not saying that it can't be done, but I think that, you know, they are predisposed to making wines like this. They're focused and delicious. He also has a master's degree in fermentation science, I believe, so that helps.
Yeah, that I'm sure that'd be amazing if that hurt. Making the wines. I'm now getting nervous that the Willamette Valley is about to become everything's going to be twice, 3 times the price because that place is just, I mean, everything coming out of there is so good right now. It's crazy when you look at this list of wines that we're picking right now, 3 of them have been from the Willamette Valley. 3. I have to pick a wine here that is very much me and very much, I wouldn't call it the most inspired pick for others, but for me, it's one that I have bought for a lot of people this year. And this is Stoltman's Love You Bunches. It's a chilled red wine made from Sangiovese. We've covered it numerous times. I've had Pete Stoltman on the podcast, and we've talked about the story of Love You Bunches recently. Here's the thing about this wine. I am choosing this wine as one of my wines of the year because of the way I've seen people I've given it to react. And everybody listening to this podcast has a very different depth of knowledge and an understanding and a patience for wine that I think the people who drink it casually don't. And so I've given this wine to a lot of people that have never had a chilled red. In fact, most people I've given this bottle, I've done it on purpose, brought it to come over to somebody's house for a football game, and I bring 3 or 4 of these bottles of wine. And I say, I'm going to put these in the fridge, and they look at me like I'm insane. And then they try it, and that wine is gone in 5 seconds. And I will say, there's almost no wine I've ever seen at a group function that is not a wine function, not a wine, it's just a bunch of the neighborhood getting together, where you put 4 bottles of Love You Bunches on ice. They will be gone so fast, it will make your head spin.
That's very true. I think
Yeah.
that chilled reds oftentimes get a bad rap because sometimes they're not maybe as like clean as you want them to be. But Love You Bunches is awesome, super clean, delicious. Chill it, pound it.
And by not clean, not clean, you mean kind of a natural type of funky thing?
Yeah, maybe not necessarily natural, but just it's like a lesser wine maybe than a still red that is, I don't know, more expensive.
I understand. Like, so putting a chill on it kind of takes its value down. I kind of feel the same way about what you're saying kind of about rosé, where rosé just does not get the love that I think it deserves as a fine wine because it's so easy to drink it quick and love it. It's like, that's not really fair. This will be the first year I've done this that I do not have a rosé on my list.
Big departure. You're a real rosé guy.
I mean, as far as guys and rosé goes, I am. I'm a big fan. I will say, John, you make a tremendous rosé at Wild Sound Wine, but I can't have another Willamette Valley wine. You really do. You really make a good one.
Matthias, and I was just thinking that I need more Matthias and rosé in my life.
We all do, but I've picked them in years past, and honestly, I didn't have a lot of them this year.
And I second the Wild Sound Wine Rosé. It's another one of those wines that's like, it's great with a meal. It's great as aperitif. Doesn't really matter what time of day, what time of night. It's just a great wine.
I think the key is barrel fermentation on rosé. That makes all the difference. Most people do it in stainless. And I think when you ferment it in neutral wood, it gives it, there's like a textural component, makes it quite good. And you got to pick it at the right time. A lot of people treat rosé as an afterthought, I think.
Yeah, well, I've been trying to harp on rosé for a long time. I really don't think it deserves that, but it's similar to the chilled red. These are wines that deserve another look, I truly believe. Also, the other thing with something like a Love You Bunches, it's not a crazy expensive bottle of wine.
I think it's like
It's
$20 in most
20
stores,
bucks.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a $20 bottle of wine. So,
Great value. Yeah.
we have a couple more wines on our list. I'm going to put those on our social media and on our newsletter and everything.
Before we do, can I just say one more really fast? Because it's not really fair to even put on this list, but I will say we got to mention it because it was such an exceptional and priceless wine.
Yeah.
Armin, who's, in a lot of SOMM TV content, great dude.
Armin
Uh,
Kishtorian, yeah.
Yeah, there's a Drink a Bottle recently that we filmed with him and Jonah Beer, and Armin brought a 1947 Bijou Romanée Vivant, and to say it was still drinkable would be such an understatement. It was just unbelievably in just the best condition you can imagine for a 1947, let alone, I mean, it could have been a 1992 or, it was it had so much life to it still. I couldn't even imagine that a 1947 Burgundy would do that.
It was one of the best forged wines I've ever had. No, I'm just kidding. It really was. It was perfect. It was in a way where it kind of like makes you step back. That episode is airing right now on SOMM TV. You can watch this Unicorn Burgundy episode, which is just crazy that he brought this wine to open up. That 47, I will never have that again. I don't think a bottle of that is gettable anymore. So that was incredible. I want to move on. Aside to say, all the wines we mentioned, go support them. This is not a sponsored thing. These are wines that we truly love and respect the winemakers, and you should go and support all these wines. So go to the link and take a look at those. All right, we've each picked 2 wine regions that people should visit in 2026. And we'll go through this quick, but it's just basically where you're going to go. You've got enough to travel somewhere, and you're going to wing it. So these places have to be good enough from a food, wine. They have to be friendly enough that you're not turned back at every door you try to knock on. Let's pick our regions, okay? Jackson, in 2026, you're going to 2 wine regions. What's your first one?
I'm going to go with somewhere south in Europe, somewhere where it's warm because it's the wintertime right now. So warmth sounds good. And it will be pretty much year round there. I'm going to go with where they produce sherry in Jerez de la Frontera, among other small towns around there. So southwest of Spain, Jerez, as they say. But it's just the culture, the warmth, the food, the seafood, the sherry. It's all just a perfect amalgamation of things that make it a really special place to travel to, and experience in full.
I've been lucky enough to be there with you, knowing quite a bit. That is just one of the great regions of the world. Amazing seafood. The saltiness of the place. Like you could probably lick the walls down there and get salt.
Yeah.
It's all the food, the jamon and the olives, everything has a saltiness, and nothing goes better with that salt than sherry. It's just incredible the way the wine works. And sherry is one of those places. They're so friendly. They're so happy to see you. The little towns and villages are so gorgeous. I hope you like eating crustaceans you've never heard of in your life, because they're going to be bringing platters. So tons of stuff comes to your, and they look at you until you eat it. So good luck and have fun with that. But it's God, what a great place.
Yeah, the music. I mean, and sherry, people don't give sherry. I don't think they give. Some people don't think of sherry as a wine that you could drink, with a meal. But you have so many different kinds of sherry. It's such a versatile beverage, So you can have it as aperitif. You could have it with your meal. You could have it with your dessert, just depending on the style you're going for. I'd recommend to go there.
Great pick. Great pick. John, what do you have for one of your 2 regions?
Well, we've been talking an awful lot about Oregon on this podcast, and I will continue that. I have staked my entire life on the Willamette Valley. I am a resident of the Willamette Valley. I grow grapevines here. I make wines here. I love living here. I would hope that everybody would like to come and visit the Willamette Valley. We have diversity of wines. It's not all just Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. We have Gamay, Cabernet Franc, Pinot Blanc, Riesling, all kinds of varieties that maybe the Willamette Valley isn't necessarily known for. Beautiful little towns to stay in. Great restaurants, whether you're staying in McMinnville, Newburgh, Dundee. It's a fun place to visit. Give it a shot. If you're in America, you don't have to buy a plane ticket to Europe. Just come on, fly into Portland. We're an hour away.
Give it a shot.
Hour away on a good day.
Yeah. You need the traffic to cooperate for that. But yeah, I've spent a lot of time up there recently, man. That's a great place. I can't believe the amount of Europeans who are now building wineries there. Drouin has been there for a while, and it's just a number of incredible wineries are moving in there. The secret's like very much out, I think. All right, I have my first. I'm going to go with a little place in Spain called Bierzo. Bierzo is in the northwest, incredibly gorgeous, up kind of in the mountains there. And it is surrounded by, if you're a foodie or you like wine or you like history or you just like to sit outside and have dinner at 11 p.m., I will tell you, this is one of the greatest places on earth. You drink some red Mencia, you drink some white Godeo, and you have what I think is arguably the greatest seafood maybe on the planet up there in the northwest of Spain, and you will have just a blast. This is a place that I love dearly. I can get you a plate of cecina, which is a cured beef, Jax, if you'd like to try some of that.
I'm dreaming of that.
That was an incredibly wonderful trip that we all filmed there. That's the region I would like to visit in 2026.
That's a great off-the-radar choice. I like that.
Jax, what do you have for your second pick?
Okay, well, this one you're going to have to give me a little bit of wiggle room here because I'm not sure that you could call it quote unquote a wine region. However, a lot of wine is consumed there. It's up there with the greatest regions for seafood as well. And they happen to make exceptional cider. So I'm talking about Brittany, France.
Okay.
Up in the northwest of France. They don't, they make a little bit of wine there, but they drink a lot of muscadet because they eat a lot of oysters. And I was there. I was lucky enough to be there over the summer, and I want to go back there, and I want to eat more oysters, drink more wine, and more cider.
Yeah, the mule frites aren't bad either up there.
And the mule frite, yeah.
A lot of cider, a lot of Calvados. You get a lot of that kind of stuff up there.
Calvados, the True Normand, yeah, a great digestif.
What were they pouring when you did oysters? What was the main thing they were always serving with it? Was it muscadet? Because I got a lot of champagne.
There's a lot of muscadet, a lot of champagne, some Chenin. More than anything, you'd see some Loire Valley varieties, by the glass.
A lot of good beer up there too. Don't sleep on the beer.
That's true. They do. Good. They have good beer up there too. And the cider really is like, I'm not a cider guy. I wouldn't consider myself somebody who would go out and buy a bottle of cider or have one on draft, but the cider there is really special.
I love if somebody's tuning in at like minute 30, they're wondering if you're a cider guy.
Yeah,
this is good.
Just trying to give context.
I don't know who's tuning in at minute 30. Brittany's a beautiful place. Brittany is. I went there with my wife, and I will tell you that place. It shows how different every little place in France really is, because that compared to my next pick have so much in common, and yet they might as well be different planets in a solar system. My next pick is Provence, France, on the very other side of France, down at the very bottom. And I picked this because, man, if I could teleport myself to one place right now in the world, I'd be in Provence probably. I'd like to sit next. I don't smoke, but I'll have a cigarette, have some rosé, and just be surrounded by these beautiful sandstone buildings. And if you step outside of town, you're surrounded by lavender and wine grapes. I mean, come on. This is
beautiful place.
This place. Oh.
Yeah. Any time of year, it's the right place to go.
It really is. Great whites, great reds, great rosés, and a place where rosé is treated like a real wine. That's my country, Provence. I should do their marketing campaign. My country.
My country, where they treat rosé seriously.
Where they treat rosé seriously. All right, I skipped you, John. Sorry, because I wanted to go to the other side of France. What was your other pick here?
Well, we're going to stay in France here.
Okay.
And we were lucky enough this year to go to the right bank of Bordeaux, which is a place that I have not been to before. This is the first for me when we were filming the Laithwaites project. And I learned so much about the region. Most people, I don't know, at least in my perception, most people are kind of infatuated with left bank wines, more Cabernet dominant stuff. But the right bank was amazing. I mean, outside of like Saint-Emilion and Pomerol, which everybody knows, you've got these sort of satellite appellations that make killer wines like Côte de Castillon, Fronsac, Lalande de Pomerol, these lesser known parts that are making great wine that are very affordable and delicious. The food was awesome. I really loved the village of Saint-Emilion. Incredible, medieval, beautiful place. I would go there again.
Yeah, that's a great call. It's an awesome place. I've been lucky enough to be there several times, and I would go back tomorrow. I would probably rather be in Provence at the moment. But
it's warmer.
Yeah, in December, that's a good call.
Our picks are pretty much France, Spain,
and Oregon.
And where you live, John.
What a year.
What a year.
We're going to elaborate on this places to go in 2026. Honestly, I think this is going to be a great year. I think this was 2025 is kind of the year people took a step back, trying to figure things out. I know we've talked extensively, and I'll say it again. It's going to be okay. We're going to make it through all this stuff, guys. It's going to be an amazing wine year next year. I think we're just 2025 is a little bit of a hangover from people drinking too much during the pandemic, too much wine floating around. And now we're getting back to what makes wine great, which is the actual wine, not just drinking lots of it. Definitely want to tell everybody listening to this, go to sommtv.com and gift a subscription to whoever in your life loves food and wine. I know you guys are getting advertised constantly too, but this is the most important one you can listen to. sommtv.com and get a subscription for the wine lover in your life. I would like, if I can, John, since we always do the wine cameos in movies, I would like to go out with one of the most famous scenes in all of movie history having to do with wine from The Princess Bride, in honor of the director Rob Reiner, somebody who I was fortunate enough to meet while I worked with his father on a movie. It's a massive loss for all of us in film, and probably the first time many of us ever saw wine on screen was this particular scene, which is from Princess Bride. I want to wish everyone a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I want you all to be safe. I'll let Princess Bride take us out.
In that case, I challenge you to a battle of wits.
For the princess? To the death? I accept.
Good. Then pour the wine. Inhale this, but do not touch.
I smell nothing.
What you do not smell is called iocane powder. It is odorless, tasteless, dissolves instantly in liquid, and is among the more deadly poisons known to man.